Welcome, welcome. Thanks for being here, dude. I've been kind of going in a cycle here. I went like top. I think I went like jungle, support, ADC, and tomorrow's mid. A lot of people were actually asking for you in the boot camp.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, there's a few people that had asked, like, could you get Saber here? I was like, who's that? No, I'm just kidding.
Happy W. Saber who? Omega Law, you know?
Yeah. How's everything? How's your grind been this year?
It has not been. Let's just say that.
Why?
The whole COVID thing, I think, is generally gotten people down, myself included.
Okay.
I don't know, not a lot of motivation, but I think it's like getting better, you know? 2021.
How's your are you playing active in ranked right now? Are you like actively playing in high elo or no?
What's high elo?
I don't know. Where are you right now?
I'm in saber low, dude. What is it? 390 points, I think.
That's not low at all. That's what is that grandmaster right now? I'm not tracking.
Yeah, it's
been
GM
out of
right
the
now. It's like above 200 GM, above 500.
You're humble though. I thought you were gonna say some weird shit like Diamond 1. No, that's good. That's really good. I mean, it can happen. It can happen to anybody.
It did happen, yo. Let me tell you, it did happen. Okay, 2020, that ain't it, chief. That was not it.
Yeah, it's cool. The one thing that I really wanted to talk to you about, firstly, was what do you think about AD carry right now? What are you noticing some of the trends are? Like, what would you say the meta of AD carry? We could probably just start with champs that you would say, or like your go-tos, or what you would see as go-tos.
Broken, dude. Are you kidding me?
Who?
For like meta, it's literally anything you can carry on. This is crazy. Okay, so like people say Kaisa, people say Tristana. Honestly, if you can just carry with it, you can play it. You know?
Okay.
It's not like last year where it doesn't matter what you pick, you're gonna get shit on anyways. This is like if you're good at it and you can play the game well and you can carry with it later, you're gonna win. Like every time. It's a bug gap every time. Almost. In my opinion.
What are you leaning on though?
Well, I'm just playing Caitlyn every game, so
you're still on Caitlyn?
I'm just a 31
You're still on Caitlyn most of the time. Are there still like the mechanical tricks with that? Or has it kind of died off?
Definitely some, but Brad kind of killed, the main ones. So,
do you think that you are to blame for the Caitlyn combos being ended?
Well, to be fair, they didn't really exist until I like made videos on them, right?
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, I mean, it does sound like I'm boosting your ego a little bit, and I am, because there was a point where I didn't even know. Because I remember you started making videos. I wasn't really tracking Caitlyn like that. And then I saw some goofy videos of you. It was looking like she was firing a damn burst rifle or something. And I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. And then it felt like not even like a month later, it was gone. Like the shit was just gone.
It was there for like a year plus. So
really? It was longer than that.
Yeah, it was there for a while. It's just like when people started like learning it. I think when pros started learning it, I don't know, maybe Rag got scared or something. They wanted to like fix all the bugs. You could like shoot through GA and Zanya's, which is really unreasonable, right? Yeah. So they were just like, instead of just fixing that, just fixed everything, Do
you regret making the videos?
I mean, not really, right? Like, why would I regret?
Well,
so
I'll tell you why competitively, or I guess for you as a SoloQ player, it would be like the reason that I wouldn't want to tell on it is because it's like they're probably more likely to get rid of it, right?
I mean, that's not fun. So it's not like it's a secret if I'm doing it on stream, right?
Yeah, but if no one figured it out yet, you could have just like David Blained it, right? You could have like held on. Yeah.
Like a magic trick, right?
You like make goofy faces in front of the camera as you do it, and people be like, dude, what the fuck is he even doing?
That would be pretty fucking funny, but nah, that's not. That doesn't seem. It seems like it'd be fun for a little bit, but like I don't know. That's not it,
Yeah, hoarding that information. I will say one thing: as content creators, we do like sharing. We do like sharing stuff that we find out, even if it's to our own detriment and ranked sometimes. Like if you like expose your strategy or your play style, you do have to realize that there's going to be other players out there. Like you said like pro players started picking it up, and like other high elo players started picking it up. it's like you kind of start shifting the meta based on the information that you provide. It's just it's one of those blessing and a curse moments, you know?
Yeah.
We just want to help people. So yeah, the big thing that I wanted to discuss with you is you said you think that, you know, bot lane is got a lot of carries in it. So why do you think then one of the common things I read all the time from AD carries is like, I can't carry with this role.
Dude, they're bad. That's all I have to say. They're really bad, dude. Like, let's be honest, you're fucking bad. Like, there's no excuse. Like, you play any role and you're like, damn, I can't get out of platinum, dude. Like, there are hundreds of thousands of people that got out of platinum with your role. Like, well, maybe not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds of thousands of players have gone out of the role.
Yeah.
Plus, there are people in that role that got out of it. You know, it's like, what are you doing, bro? So, you can't just blame the game, right? I mean, I think if you blame the game last year, I think that's more understandable. Like, you actually couldn't play the game. But this year is, there are plenty of examples out there where you can carry when your whole team is shitting the bed, you know? You just got to go find it and study it.
I think last year, and we're going to go back to what you just said, and I want you to go more into specifics in a second. But I think last year, at the beginning of last year, I was playing a little bit of Tryndamere mid stuff and high elo at the beginning of last year. And I remember bumping into you back then when you were playing AD carry still. And I noticed that you were doing a lot of utility stuff back then. And it was like you were, I believe, you correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you were playing like Ashe with like a low CDR build. Was that like last season, beginning of last season?
Oh yeah. I was playing full CDR Ashe or some shit like that. So I could just press R more, you know?
Yeah, because that was what you're, basically I'm tying this into what you just said, where you were like, it felt like you actually couldn't really carry in the role at all. And so this was like your adaptation, right? You're like, well, shit, if I can't carry anyways.
Yeah, no, exactly. If I can't carry it, might as well be like a CC bot, right?
Yeah, fling some ults all the way across the map and just hope that it works and hope that you get the momentum that way.
You think it's some ults, dude? With Cloud Soul, I fired like 22 ults in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, that was a very interesting. I mean, and that kind of proves that, you know, there's a reason you are where you are, and you know, you specialize in the role. So it's one of the things that I always try to tell players is that just kind of be malleable to the meta. Don't just assume that, like, you know, if the shit doesn't work, you can't just keep bashing your head against the wall. Eventually, you're gonna have to make an adjustment and you're gonna have to try something new. But now you're playing Caitlyn, right? And you've gotten pretty far up there. You were being humble. It's like Grandmaster's that's not fucking easy. I don't care who you are. It's not easy to get that high up there. It's very tough. Like if I wouldn't have a job if everybody could get to Grandmaster at least, right? Like it's ridiculous. So what do you think right now? In like summary, what do you think the common mistakes that AD carry players are making in your role right now?
I think it depends on the ranking, you know?
Okay.
So, like, people in, like, Platinum and below, they, like, don't know how to literally carry with their champion, for example.
Okay.
I think, like, players in Diamond, maybe they know kind of how to carry with their champion, but they have no map awareness, right? So
what do you mean? Like, what do you mean map awareness?
Well,
just
like
specific scenarios. You know? Yeah, okay.
They're like pushing and they're hitting the tower when there's a TP ward behind them. Like, oh, I got 4-man. Like, bro, what are you doing? Right?
I see. So you're talking more specifically. This is higher level than I think you realize, because I spend a lot of time. Well, yes, but what I'm saying is, when I'm coaching like lower elo clients, for example, when you say map awareness, you're talking like, where's the jungler, where's the mid or whatever. But you're talking about stuff that's kind of nuanced.
Oh, well, I mean, like, in the lower ranks, like, dying as a jungler is not the end of the world, honestly, right? Okay. But, like, not being able to, like, press W on Jhin or, like, look for a 4-shot, you literally are not playing the game, right? In the mid-lane game. Like, you're literally not doing your job, essentially, right? So that's their problem. Like, they can feed in lane and it'll still be fine, right? But, like, the higher rank you go, that's not okay. Because when you do that, the whole game is starting to fall apart, right?
Yeah, so, one big death or one big rotation to bot lane will kind of screw the whole matchup if you wind up losing like your whole tower off of it. And then they just get all that gold, they get the dragon, they get the space, then they can rotate their bot lane around and basically end the game. Yeah.
like giving a double kill to Hecarim in the first 5 minutes, you're gonna lose, most likely, right? Like that's not okay. But like in like bronze, that Hecarim like is building like some random shit. Like he's not even gonna carry with his items. So
yeah, he's gonna get that momentum going, and then just like dive under a tower somewhere, and it's gonna be okay.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about the champs that if you were playing in low elo, right? And I like doing this because you say you play a lot of Caitlyn right now, but I like asking this type of question because I think it kind of shows a little bit of game knowledge. If you're playing low elo right now, and I was like, Saber, boost me. Okay, here's my account. I pay you, you boost me. But you're going to do it from AD carry, okay? Because you got to make me look like I can play AD carry when I can't. So you can't play Caitlyn, though. What champions are you going to be playing to boost me?
I wouldn't pick Caitlyn anyways. I'd pick something like Kai'Sa, Tristana, you know?
Okay. This is good. This is the type of answer that I wanted. Why?
I mean, the lower rank you are, the more simple you want your carry pattern to be, your damage pattern, right?
Okay.
So all-in champions are usually not necessarily one-dimensional, but simple to understand. You fucking press all your buttons on the dude, and they're gonna die, right? That's exactly how much damage you do every time. So you just pick Tristana, and you just fucking, if you're better than them, you know your damage, and they don't know your damage, so you just get random kills everywhere. So yeah, stuff like Tristana and Kai'Sa are really good for SoloQ, generally speaking.
I've always been of the belief, and I'm going to try to get Taco in here at some point a week from now to have this discussion with him if he'll let me do it. I've always been of the belief that Jhin sucks. Like Jhin just sucks. Now hold on, and I'm going to give you my reasons. And I'm okay to be wrong. I'm okay for you to disagree with me. But I'm going to tell you why I feel that he sucks. And I get a lot of Jhin coaching clients between the ranges of like, you know, iron to fucking platinum. And what I wind up doing is I wind up basically trying to get them off of that champion. And it's funny that you said Kai'Sa and Tristana because those are the ones that I recommend too. So it doesn't seem like I'm too far off in Narnia right now in comparison to like what you would say. My reason for hating on Jhin is because I feel like he's very telegraphed, he's very obvious, and he really sucks late game when the game drags. Like, I feel like there's other champions that you could pick that could deal with, like, I always call them eventualities better. Right? Like, what if there's a giant Darius for some reason? Are we really going to be happy that we picked Jhin? Do you see where I'm going with this?
Kind of.
Okay.
But I don't necessarily agree with the reasoning.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, for Jhin, my kind of issue with like lower ranked players playing him is that he does lack a very clear how do we kill this dude pattern, right? Like playing Kai'Sa, we need to proc the passive. We needed the ISO Q. We're playing Tristana, we need to get the bomb off, right? When you're playing Jhin, they like, you need to hold your force shot, you need to land your W and look for a good ulti, essentially, right? And a lot of players, the W is really obvious. The ulti, they just pop whenever they want, so they're like not killing anyone with it. And then they dump force shot into a minion, not realizing how important that is, right? So I think the real problem is most people don't understand how much value they need to get out of their force shot in a fight, right?
I see.
So it's kind of interesting that you say late game you felt like, you know, it seems like you're not going to be happy with the Jhin pick because late game Jhin is like one of the most insane shit out there.
Really? You feel that way? That's funny. That's funny because I actually feel like it's dog shit. So this is very interesting.
Right. Yeah. Like, it is dog shit unless you hold force shot with rapid fire and you're looking, right?
Okay. So there's definitely and then what is that is like a Gale Force synergy too normally?
Yeah. Gale Force shot. Gale Force Q force shot is doing 1800 damage to a carry, right? Just from like half a second. So that's already insane.
So
right?
do you think it's I'm just seeing more bad Jhins? I mean,
no, yeah, you are.
In your defense, and in my defense, I guess I should say, I'm not really playing high elo actively this year at all, really. I mean, I'm playing to like around diamond if I can muster the time to get. You see what I'm saying? Because I've just been so busy with my shit. So like I played to like diamond 2 on EU West or like a couple months ago. And like it was basically like the Jhins would occasionally do that combo that you described, but it was super rare. So what you're saying is like this is something that the good ones are pretty much looking for in the mid to late game. and that they're probably going to find it if they're good. And that totally morphs that pick to be something from like a forgettable pick to like what you're saying, which is like you think it's actually good.
All right, that's like almost any champion essentially, right? Do you know how the champion works, right? Because like you said, there are people like you know understand like what the meta is. Like, do you know why the meta is the way it is and how you can like adapt to it essentially, right? Like going back to our whole utility ADC stuff. You know, do you know why everyone's picking like Ashe and Jhin every single game? Ashe, Jhin, Senna, right? And if you don't, then you have an issue, right? So like if you're picking Jhin, you know why you're picking Jhin, and if you don't, you have an issue, right? So the thing that makes the champion or meta strong or whatever you want to call it, you need to understand it in order to use it. So like you have to be looking for the fourth shot in the fights. Otherwise, you know, you're kind of sitting there watching your team die or watching them kill the enemy team, right?
I see. Yeah, I find it interesting that you would frame it that way, but that's cool. So basically, we're getting to the same destination, but we're taking different routes to get there in regards to this Jhin thing. I'm saying that Jin's bad because I think he scales like shit. You're saying that he's bad because he actually doesn't scale like shit. It's just people can't fucking pilot him to justify it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't tell my students to not play Jhin. I have some Jhin one tricks, and I'm like, okay, it's not don't play it, it's play it better, right? So,
I like that. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. And I'm going to take this into consideration the next time I want to yell at somebody and pull them off, because this is another reason why I'm doing these. It's not only for the boot camp and for the people, but it's also for me. I like knowing this stuff because I've been kind of deep in the weeds with coaching. I've put so many hours into this. Like I always say that I play Coach of Legends because all of my coachings are live. Like you've seen probably on my YouTube videos, they're all live. Like I watch them and I try to guide them, like almost backseat game it to a certain degree. And I've been doing it now for so long that I've just kind of gotten these biases because I've been playing the game through the eyes of the students. So it's like, it's a bit of a shocker because in my brain, I guess I just totally misinterpreted it. But anyways, enough about Jhin. Caitlyn, you wouldn't pick her at all in low elo.
True.
That's interesting. So you wouldn't recommend people play her? And is that just because of what you said? Is a similar logic of like the play pattern isn't very easy?
Yeah, I would say so. Like, you know, your pattern of doing stuff is not as straightforward as, you know, you want to land everything, so go land everything. Like point and click, right? This is pretty much, you know, Caitlyn's literally 3 skill shots. So unless you know how to use her abilities effectively, you're literally doing no damage every fight if you can't land it, right? 3 skill shots plus a passive headshot, I should say.
But you still wouldn't play her in low elo, even though she's one of your like staple high elo picks.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to climb as fast as I can, I'd rather play something that requires 0 brain cells. For me, at least, right?
No, like, this is good. This is good. I've had this talk with people. Yeah, I've had this talk with people because I tell people all the time I used to love Gangplank, right? I love playing that champion. He's really fun. And then once he got balanced around competitive, I always found myself playing Tryndamere. And then when people ask, it's like, well, why don't you play Gangplank? It's like, because I have to work 10 times harder with Gangplank to get the same result as Tryndamere. Yeah. And I could like turn my brain off. So it's cool that you see it in that way, that you feel like even though she's one of your staples, you're still kind of hesitant to pick it in that range.
Well, I wouldn't say hesitant. You know, if I'm there to just like get 20 kills a game, Caitlyn's not the champion, right?
Okay, interesting. So you play? Well, I guess you have to be playing solo now. Are you liking that change?
I think it's like for like ladder integrity reasons, right? So you can't just like duo abuse with like Smurf accounts or boosted accounts or whatever. But it's also less like fun. Like you're less involved in the community, I feel like, because a lot of friends you make in high-low, you can play with them, right? Like for example, Stunt and I used to like play a lot last season, and we became good friends. But since like this season started, we just can't play. So it's like, you know, where does our usual interaction go? I guess we just like don't talk as much, right?
So, but would you want to undo it though?
I don't know. I think there's pros and cons for either argument, and people are going to be upset no matter what. So one's more competitive integrity but less fun, and one's more fun, but the latter could get screwed up. But honestly, I think the latter is going to be screwed up no matter what. So
I was having a discussion. Well, I don't want to spoil who the next guest will be for tomorrow, but I was talking to a challenger guy yesterday about this, and I kind of agree with what you just said, because it feels like every year there's some reason why competitive integrity always kind of takes a little dip. So you just said it. I was like, well, the duo's gone now. And you're like, it's good for competitive integrity, but, and you put a but in there and you're like, well, it's not actually, it's always going to be messed up. This year, Riot accounts.
Oh, no.
Right? So like, I was super excited. Exactly. Yeah, I was super excited to drop the duo thing. And then you figured out that a lot of the people that got to the top of the ladder right away, it was kind of bugged. You know, and it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that before. Before, you know, there was duo abuse cases, and before that, there was like, I believe there was some other bug or glitch or something where people like rose really fast at the beginning. It was like 2 seasons before that, and it just seems like there's always something that's messed up with high elo ranked. It's like a weird vibe.
They're always gonna find a way. You know, you're always gonna find a way. If your goal is to just get like as much OP as possible, you're gonna find a way to like suss the system, right? Like win trade or some shit.
Did you say suss?
You know? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just like them restricting duo is a way to fight back. You know, it's not like they're doing nothing. It's just I would like to see some stuff like right MMR accounts not happen in the first place. You know?
Yeah, I was wondering if they were ever gonna kind of just like reset or dial it back, but I don't want to make this a pity party about high elo ranked, because most of these guys aren't really playing high elo anyways, and most of them want to hear about your ADC stuff anyhow. What about off meta picks for bot lane? What are you liking down there that's not, you know, the traditional bang bang picks?
I mean, I think most of what I play can be considered meta. It's like like I said, like if you can carry with it, you can play it, right? So I think I'm seeing a lot of different ADCs being played right now. I'm not sure if there's a straight up meta, so to speak, besides like Tristana and Kai'Sa being very prevalent. So like things like Jinx, I think are really good, but I also think she is considered to be somewhat meta, right?
Yeah, right now. Yeah.
Right. So these champs are all good. If anything, the most off meta is like Caitlyn. So not many people are playing Caitlyn.
What about the Swain, the Seraphine, the stuff that we see? Well, we saw Seraphine at the G2 game. I believe it was last night.
Seraphine disgusting, but not really for SoloQ. Swain is
got it.
I don't think it's very good. So
you don't like Swain at all?
No, I'm pretty sure that's garbage nowadays.
Interesting. Even as a support?
Even more garbage.
That's a Swain hater. That's a Swain hater, guys.
Like, imagine if you have if the enemy team has a Swain, you have a Rel. Who do you think is gonna win in the mid game dragon fights?
I see what you're saying. So you're talking more about that. I just meant purely from the perspective of like, you talk about carry. That's why it almost runs opposite to what you were just talking about. That's why I'm surprised, because I've always found Swain to be one of those champions when he gets gold. If it happens, he seems to be that like lottery pick where he like really cashes out with it normally.
He could, right? He could. But here's the thing. You're giving up your ADC scaling, which is now good, to you're trying to like snowball the early mid game, right? So let's say you go even, you've already lost, theoretically, right? Let's say you're winning, you have to like not throw it, right? And if you're losing, you might as well FF. So you have no real comeback besides getting a random hook off, right?
Yeah,
like
the random claw.
Yeah, like imagine you pick Swain and enemy team pick Kai'Sa. Are you really gonna be happy when she has isolated Q 0 and 5? Still gonna one shot someone, right?
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. All right, let's talk about supports, because we've been talking about AD carries. I didn't ask Latharis. I talked to Latharis, the Bard guy on EUS yesterday. I think it was yesterday or day before, I think. But either way, I didn't really talk to him about synergies on bot lane. So you're playing Caitlyn right now. What champs do you like to see with Caitlyn?
Well, obviously, like classic Morgana is pretty strong.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't mind most picks. Oh, Bard is actually really good. It was funny that you mentioned a Bard dude, because Bard is considered really good with Caitlyn.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because he's obviously had his success this year. He's just been parked at rank 1 for a while now. since the changes went out. He's loving it. He's actually wanting Bard to be nerfed though, which is pretty common with like one tricks, and even Rist was saying the same thing with Garen. What about Caitlyn? Do you want Caitlyn to be nerfed? I guess probably not, because she's not technically.
She just came back from the dead, so to speak. I think this is a good spot for her where not anyone can just pick her and like do well. You also have to be really good at her to get something. So she's in a good spot, I think, for champion mastery and expected value out of the champion pit.
Yeah, because normally it's been basically every person that I've gotten on here, with the exception of yourself, like their mains, they've been like, yeah, I like my main, but I wish it wasn't so strong right now. And that's been kind of the trend. And even Latharis was like, even though I'm rank 1, like I'd rather have Bard nerfed so I could play him more. Because he doesn't even really get to enjoy his champion right now. Let's see. I'm trying to think of questions. Boot campers. I think we could just turn it over to you guys. We got some boot campers in the chat. Let me see what they've got to say. All my ADC mains ass saber some shit. The cool thing is I don't really have to prep interview questions. I can just talk to you like I did, and then when I get tired or I can't think of anything good, I just ask them.
Free content, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yes. Zaya, what do you think about Zaya?
I haven't really seen much. Can't really say, but I would prefer not to pick.
You don't want her at all?
Well, like, if it was me piloting the champ, I don't know. Seems like, not sure how I could get some consistency out of her. I wouldn't say she's bad, but it's probably like in the same boat as Caitlyn. You need to be skilled with her to do well.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the play pattern is, and I found that when I was coaching it. I'm not really sure. There's like proactive gameplay and reactive gameplay, right? And it just feels like with Zaya, I'm always watching it, and I'm like, I'm not really sure how they can create without the support or without the enemy team just overplaying, I guess. Let's see. Thoughts on Samira after the nerfs?
I think there's a general consensus among Samira players that they hate it now. They can't dash their teammates. And a general consensus among like analysts or something that she's not bad and that she's pickable. But in SoloQ, it's probably not a champion you should pick.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you need a duo. You need a support that can all in, right? So if you play like Samira and like I don't know, like Yumi or something, you're doing something wrong, right?
I see, because it's still showing up. It's still showing up like on tier list as a reasonable pick.
Yeah, but like who makes tier list?
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. It depends on what bracket. It depends on what elo. If we're talking, let's see. I like to peep the like Diamond plus tier list. We'll say Diamond 2 for like Korea. If we got like a Diamond 2 tier list, Samira's, yeah, she's sitting pretty low. So yeah, if everybody's playing all right, doesn't look like she's doing too hot. So you would say then she would fall under the niche pick category. Like the only time that you really pick her is when you could justify the pick with like a good support.
Exactly. Plus, I think you would also need a good lane partner. So there's another requirement to be had.
Oh, I see. And because you can't really duo past master where you're playing, it's not like you can consistently set it up. Exactly. I see.
And then you're gonna get like a Nami one trick or some shit, you know, Sona one trick.
Yeah, and you don't want to be playing Samira with that.
To put the time and effort into this is not worth for sure. At least in my ELO bracket. I don't know about you guys, but like if you wanted an all-in champion, why not pick Tristana and Kai'Sa, right? It's just you pick Samira if you really like her. So.
No, that's good. I win laning with Tristana. What do I do next? Do I continue CSing and keep pushing for second tier or roam for kills?
The fact that he said roam for kills makes me question the rank. This is like coming from like silver gold, right? So
yeah, probably.
You want to make money as the ADC, right? So that with your items you can carry through your damage patterns, right? So let's say Tristana, her damage pattern in the mid game is you have to blow up the bomb somehow, right? But your late game damage pattern is you press Q and you auto attack someone 3 times. So how much money do you need to get to that point is the question. And the answer is you always need more money. So
interesting. Would you say like the way he frames it, I find is a little bizarre too, because he's talking about after I win tower, do I push for second tier? I'm pretty sure we never push for second tier.
I don't even know where that comes. Like, are you staying bot and pushing for that?
Yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah,
it's like, you know, you're deep in enemy territory, and the way to make money is to farm the wave. Except for the fact that you're deep in enemy territory, so they're gonna, you know, TP on you, gank you, mid roam, right? So it's a little. It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, generally I have clients rotate off a bot after drag, go to top.
All right, that's pretty safe lane to farm in / pressure the tower, right? So
yeah. Can you ask him about back timings? You were coaching me about back timings yesterday on Draven. What do you got for tips on back timings?
You know what the enemy team is doing. So like, for example, they're like slow pushing a wave, right? And you know they're gonna base, and then they're gonna, if you base after you clear this massive wave, they're gonna do dragon immediately. You could just be like, fuck it, I know they're gonna slow push, I'm gonna base right now, right? Like, that's a little more nuanced, but your base was based off of what they were doing, so to speak, right? So you're either planning your base timings around what they're doing, or you're in control and you're like, I'm gonna stack the wave, push this in, and go home, right? But you have to know like what's going on the map, because if you do that while your jungle was pathing bot and you didn't really have a good base, you're like screwing your jungle over, right? So you also need to look at the map. So sometimes it's very much, I have to base here, no question about it. You want to do the dragon? I don't care, bro. I have to base because I have 0 mana and like 1400 gold, right? Because I can get like a noon quiver or something. Then you base. You just force base. And let's say, for example, you don't have the base and you're basing, your jungle spamming and dragon when the enemy mid's dead, you can't base, right? You gotta go do the dragon. It's free, right? So it's very much, the general concept behind base timing is just, can you make sure you don't lose any gold, and can you be as useful as possible to your team, right? So sometimes you just
nothing's black and white.
Yeah, but I mean, as long as you stick to the general concepts, you start to see the patterns that emerge, right? Like, you base randomly and you lose a wave. Okay, that's not good, right? You base like super late because you greeted for the Gale Force and they took Dragon because you had a late base timing. That's not good, right? So you start to kind of figure it out when you notice what you lose off base or what you gain off base. So
excellent. What's the best way to deal with shitty supports?
And you just farm it out, you know. Sometimes it'd be like that. I mean, people are like, how do I kill them if my support's not doing anything? Well, you don't kill them, right? you don't win, dude. Like, you just do your best. People are like, how do I pull a miracle out of my ass? That doesn't usually happen, right?
I always tell my clients they like to do this thing where they give me the monsters under the bed scenarios, the doomsday scenarios, right? Where they go, well, what do I do if all 4 teammates int? And I just am always like, well, you just go next.
Yeah, you just have that. I mean,
that's what you do.
They're expecting like an answer where you become faker for like a game, you just go crazy, but like the real answer is your climbing is gonna come from consistency over however many games, right? Like 100 games or something, not, you know, miracle run in one game and then coin flip the next 10 or something, you know? That doesn't really work that way.
Yeah, you can't believe in that one particular game out of the next 100 where you're not doing much.
All right,
yeah, I would say
it's not like it's impossible. It's just like you might be focusing on it too much, right?
Yeah, I had a game today right before I took my lunch break where I was losing really hard. I'm playing Silas on this boot camp, just learning a new champion while I'm running it, right? So I'm trying to do my 100 games because the goal at the boot camp is that they play 100 games roughly in 21 days in ranked, right? So 5 games a day roughly. Because for a lot of these guys, they struggle to get the volume in. So
true.
Yeah, so I'm forcing them to play and I'm playing along with them. I learned Silas. I just had a game where the game was going pretty bad. And because the game was going as bad as it was, I just made like just kind of reckless roams. And I actually got lucky and I pulled off a nice little combo. And like, luckily we win it. But it's like, for a lot of these guys, I think they forget that when the game is going to be a loss anyways, that you might as well, I know this sounds bad, but you might as well limit test it. Because if you truly believe that it's going to be a lost game, you might as well try to get control of the game. Would you agree with that?
On honestly, it sounds kind of grief to me at least.
Grief. I guess.
Like,
You know what though? The reason you say that I think is because of the role you play.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, ADC, you can't do that stuff, right? That don't work.
That's right.
So,
I guess that makes a good point. That doesn't really apply to AD carry as much.
Right. Like you're sure you could try and like suicide split, but I wouldn't really call that limit testing. I like limit testing to me implies you're testing how much you can just out PvP, right?
Yes.
Or is that not okay? So yeah, like when I'm gonna limit test with Jinx. Like how are you gonna fucking limit test? You're gonna hope he steps on the traps? I don't know.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, it is. It is role dependent, and I guess I should restructure how I frame that to people because I don't want them. Because I guess what I do wind up normally telling the ADC clients is to just give tower and wait.
Yeah, you know? I mean, you just wait for your opportunity, right? Just get 10 CS a minute. Like if you try and do something like, yo, I gotta roam as Jinx and just give up the mid wave, mid tower, go top, try and kill this Camille. The only thing that's gonna happen is Camille's gonna E away, okay? And you're just FF immediately.
Or she's gonna E on your head and then
yeah, you know what? She's gonna choke out on you. What do you expect?
Choke out all you mid-flight. Yeah, that's that's what it is. No, that's a good point. I'm glad you clarified that because yeah, because what I was talking about was Silas. Like I'm roaming from like mid to bot and like diving somebody. It's like a really reckless dive, but like I'm allowed to do that. Whereas you can't run down there with Caitlyn.
Yeah, exactly. You take the Yone ulti, you like fucking give up the wave, and you try and go for the play by, right? Like that's a decent option. But for ADCs, a lot of times that's not an option. So.
Yeah, I like that. So yeah, it's definitely. I wanted to have this conversation with you too. A lot of the times I coach clients. I think you're gonna like this. I've defined playing AD carry as like playing survival horror.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
And that the game is about the game is about you surviving all the bullshit and like not dying. That's like your most important task. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, for the most part. I would say so.
I mean, obviously you got to deal DPS at some point, right? But time and time again, I wind up telling clients they want to build all damage all the time. And I wind up pulling them off and making them go shield bow or like Gale Force and telling them like, no, dude, you don't need any more damage. You just need to live. Do you find that that's the case with you?
Yeah. I mean, in certain scenarios, you know, if there's something you can't answer, you should, but you can buy an item to answer it. You know, that would probably be a smart choice, right? Like, for example, like Eve specifically, right? She has a lot of early mid-game threat against ADC. So you're like, okay, I just buy a no mantle, right? Instead of trying to go for a Zeal item, something like that, right? You just buy a no mantle real quick and then continue on with your build. So
that's something you do often?
Yeah. Against Eve, I think it's a rule of thumb. Like other champions, like let's say you're playing for some reason you're playing as like triple AD topside and they're building like lethality on Pantheon and like lethality on Lee Sin. They just buy ninja tabbies, fuck it, right? So
yeah, I definitely wind up telling people like, hey, you need to just stop with this like damage line all the time and think about just, can we survive the burst or not? And I think that gets people pretty good results. Kraken Slayer versus Shield Bow on Ashe. I tend to go Kraken Slayer on Ashe myself because if you're not kiting on Ashe, you're not playing her right. Would Shield Bow just be better?
I don't know how many people are playing Ashe, but I don't think anyone's building Shield Bow on Ashe. Let me see. I don't think that really makes as much sense, so to speak. It would have to be very specific reason, I think. But I don't play Ashe, so I can't really say. Let me see. Some people are building Shield Bow.
I normally recommend it to them when they're facing, it's the same scenario that I just told you. It's like a bunch of champions you can't avoid them. There's like a Zed on the other team, or like you just know no matter what happens, like maybe you've got like a Pike support that's never going to help you in the game. I just tell them just get the shield bow on the map and just deal with it and deal with getting engaged on, and hopefully you live. So yeah, that's kind of where my logic was normally at.
No, like let's say they have like a Zed and like a, I don't know, like what jungler exists nowadays?
Like
Hecarim, right?
Hecarim, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, shield bow is, they're guaranteed to do damage to you. Shield bow is guaranteed to give you a shield, so seems very reasonable.
That's a good trade. That's a fair negotiation. I like that. What is your worst nightmare a jungler can do to you to shut you down?
Where's nightmare?
Yeah.
I mean, not much. I mean, Usually I'm pretty aware of the jungler. It's more like my worst nightmare is my support running it down when the jungler's here. That's a nightmare, you know? It's like, okay, I'm just gonna let you die. Like, but the Hecarim's getting a kill either way, so no one's really happy here. You know, I'm not happy. Well, team's not happy because Hecarim's getting something. You know, support's not happy because he's like, oh shit, he didn't die with me, what the fuck? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not happy because my lane is sus for 30 seconds, so.
Yeah, I like that. Any tips for being more mechanically consistent? Some days I find myself kiting, hitting everything. Other days just failing stuff I know I'm capable of. Yeah,
it's very much like I tell my students, you know, it has to be like repetition is key. Like you need to be able to play your champion without having to think too much, right? So if they're like, my mechanics aren't so hot, I'm missing CS. That's like, yo, sometimes you don't play the game enough, or you're not focusing on the CS enough, right? But other times it's like, you know, they like literally can't land their abilities. It's like, do you even play this champion? Right? You look at the match history and they switch champions every game, or they play like 2 games a week or something, right? You need to be able to like jump and put the bomb on someone on Tristana with your eyes closed. Right?
I like that.
So you have to be able to do it without thinking. It's like a habit. It's like a physical habit, right? You're literally pressing W and then E right before your jump land, something like that. So yeah, mechanics are very much a you're focusing on it in game to make sure it becomes such a habit you can do it with zero thinking.
So when I did the boot camp, this one's 3 weeks, which is way too long, by the way. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I basically made it a requirement that everybody in the boot camp do this drill, and then in a week I was going to randomly pull people, and if they failed after 3 tries, let me ask you this before I finish this thought. How many times did you train on the Soraka mid drill?
None. What?
None, right? You didn't wake up this morning like, ooh, I better practice the fucking banana drill, right? Before NEACE calls me up
no.
on Discord. Exactly. You didn't try any of them before. So I told them that I give them a week, Saber, a week. And I said, if I pull them randomly and they can't do it, I will kick them out of the boot camp. No refund. Yeah, no refund. So like, you know what happened? They got mad at me, dude. Even though I wasn't actually going to kick them out. They got really mad at me. Some of them even kicked themselves out because they were so intimidated by the bananas. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't think I have an opinion either way.
You don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Yeah, I feel you, dude. Cool. I think we covered a lot of stuff today. You're saying that, yeah, staying on Tristana, Kai'Sa is probably the way to go if you're low elo. It's probably who we should lean on. Jin's fine if people actually know how to hold fourth shot, play it properly.
well, among landing your W and ulti as well, right?
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Hopefully that's a given, although it's usually not a given.
Yeah, and then you don't want them to nerf Caitlyn. You like where Caitlyn's at. And if ADCs suck, I'm using your words, by the way. You said if they feel like they can't carry, it's because they're fucking bad. That is literally what you said.
True.
That is what you said. So I don't want anybody taking my words out of context, or I guess my interpretation of what you said out of context. You said that AD carries are fucking bad if they can't climb, because it's a good season for AD carries, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, sir. You tell them I told them that.
I will. I am going to reference you from now on. And until this season, like until there's a big like bot lane shift. See, this is one of the things about talking to people is that I can actually like leverage our conversations later in my coachings, and I can be like, listen, I talked to Saber, he's better ADC than me. So if he says ADCs can fucking carry and you need to man up, then that's all there is to it, right? Like,
true.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. I hope the weather's nice over there and in the Sandy, dude. I hope everything's good. I hope life is good. I hope you continue to keep doing what you're doing and keep killing it on AD carry. And thank you, man. Have a good one.